Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's Lucky Luke 5392 here. I'm talking about that young Banlist though. We got a brand new one. For the next 3 months, we're looking at the best format since last format, because dragons are a thing but not a thing, and I'll get back to that in a minute. Let me discuss the list with you guys really quick. So on the ban list we've got Dragon Ravine, Return from a Different Dimension, Sixth Sense, and Self-Destruct Button, 3 of which are the Dragon Win cards. They gone! They're gone at last, so we're not worried about it anymore. So dragons don't have a flip his card, resolve, and win. And Sixth Sense is no longer a draw 6 and win. And Dragon Ravine is gone, so Dragonities also can't do much. But with the Dragon Rulers and the Dragonities, it was kind of becoming broken anyway. And Self-Destruct Button just means you can't go 27 games in a time with draws all the time. I know my buddy Jake, shout out to that guy because he's a wacko, but I love that guy. He actually played Self-Destruct Button. I think he said he went into like Game 7 with somebody, and it was ridiculous. It was actually kind of funny to hear that story. Let's move on to Limited. We've got Blaster, Tidal, Tempest, and Radox, all limited. I think along with all the other hits they did, now that I look at it, I was originally thinking they could have left them at 2, but now I'm kind of looking back and thinking that they did what they did, the 1 limit to 1. I still think that it was a fake ban list I saw last ban list season, that there was this rule imposed on a fake ban list that somebody had come up with that said you could only have 6 combined Dragon Ruler cards in your deck. And I thought that was actually a really, really good way to stop the Dragon Rulers from being a broken-ass deck rather than just, letting them run rampant. And in doing so, you would have enabled them to be actual support for their decks. Like as a Fire Fist and Scrap player, I can definitely attest to the fact that just 1 Blaster or 1 Redox, I mean, yeah, it's good, but it doesn't give you the oomph that the deck had back last format when people might be playing it. Anyway, on to the rest of the list. We've got Debris Dragon, Divine Wind of Mist Valley, Final Countdown, Sacred Sword of 7 Stars, Spellbook of Fate, and Magician of Faith is on the list at 1. And I'm thinking, this could go either 2 ways. Magician of Faith will either be, I mean, it already belongs in spellbooks. There's nobody can deny the fact that this card belongs in spellbooks without a doubt. But at the same time, it gets you back a free spell, and that's never a bad thing considering how hard it is to just get back a free spell in the game right now. And it's not like, Monster Reborn and Heavy Storm or anything like that is around anymore, so that's why it came back. Because the amount of cards that it could get back that would just turn the game completely over. And, not counting Dark Hole, of course, but Magician of Faith is very, very playable now because all the ridiculously overpowered spells are banned or limited to 1 or whatever. So I think it could either end up being a tech in every deck, and everyone's just like, oh, I'm going to play Magician of Faith, it's good, or it ends up being just in select decks. I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to try and play the Magician of Faith. By the way, the Super went to $100. I think it's kind of ridiculous, but it is Champion Pack, so it is what it is. They need to reprint it in a new rarity because I'm not dropping $100 on a holo, and I love me my holos. Debris Dragon to 1 is, I guess, since it's searchable off of Tempest, it kind of makes sense because Tempest is still at 1, so you don't get to, like, just spam Black Rose like they used to. Final Countdown, it's just those nutty win condition cards they're trying to get rid of. Sacred Sword to hit the dragons some more. Spellbook of Fate on spellbooks. Now, I don't feel like Fate was an effective card to hit because they just put it back on the bottom of the deck with Tower and recycle it anyway. I feel like they should have touched the search engine. I think Blue Boy would have been the card to hit. The Spellbook Magician would have been the card to hit to maybe 2. I think that would have been a better option, especially if they were going to hit Fate. I think they kind of dropped the ball on hitting Prophecies. Not like they really needed it, per se, but that was definitely not something I would have done myself. And the last one on the limited list that I need to talk about is Divine Wind of Mist Valley. Now, Divine Wind of Mist Valley was a very good card for Harpies, and it allowed them to go off like you wouldn't believe with Harpy Dancer. It was just a really good card. Now, for those of you who do not know what this card does, This card says, once per turn, if a face-up wind monster you control returns to the hand, i.e. from Harpy Dancer's effect, you special summon one level 4 or lower wind monster from your deck. Now, here's where the swarming happens, because here's Field Spell, use Harpy Dancer, which then you're playing at 3, and you're just getting free shit everywhere, and you're just, it just needed to be hit. Harpies are still good without it. I think they're better without it, because they're less reliant on a Field Spell, and that's my opinion. And on that note, I'll be picking up Harpies. I'm actually doing it right now, but I will be playing it next format. Anyway, on semi-limited, there are only 2 cards. They brought Chaos Sorcerer and Lone Fire Blossom to 2. I don't feel like this is going to be any game-breaking thing. They're trying to give Chaos decks a little bit of a bump since Chaos Dragons really flopped this format. I did try them, and they sucked. And Lone Fire Blossom, because they're putting out a whole bunch of new plant support. I think the Sylvans are plants. I didn't check. But if they are, that wouldn't be a bad idea for Lone Fire. That and a whole bunch of stuff coming out in Legacy of the Valiant is some kind of plant support in one way, shape, or form. So we're going to see some new stuff there. No longer on the list. Christie is no longer on the list. Everyone's saying that, well, not everyone, but a lot of people are saying that Agents are going to be a dark horse pick this format. I am prompt to agree that Chaos Agents could definitely be a thing, much like every other deck now, because Dragons are hit to the point where they're slow enough, and yes, they're still a deck. I'll get to that in a bit. The Chaos Agent deck will still be decent. You can play TG Agents, Chaos Agents, Pure Agents, whatever you want, especially because TG Striker is now at 3. I don't have much experience with the TG engine. I know TGs are going to be good because they got the Strikers back to 3, and you know, it's just everything's becoming more balanced now, and I like it. Plague Spreader and Mizuki are both at 3 now. I don't feel like this breaks the game because Plague Spreader is, you know, it's Plague Spreader and Mizuki's Mizuki. I mean, people are going to play it in Zombies, and Zombies is going to be a good deck, but they don't have return from the different dimensions, so they can't, you know, flip the card and win like I've seen them do. So, Tour Guide is, yeah, Tour Slut's back at 3. I don't see any game-breaking thing with this either. There's no more Sangan, so it's not like she's totally destructive or anything. You just play her in Tour Bus because Tour Bus is a good card. There you got Constellar's got back their M7, which I thought was fair because I haven't seen anybody abuse M7 this format. Maybe Heretics could have done it. I mean, Heretics I think play at least 2 or 3. Constellars play 1 or 2. And I'm gonna be honest, in my Boojins, I'm playing 1 because I'm playing Constellar Omega, and that just is a silly little thing you can do with that. And speaking of Boojins, Tanky went back to 3. Now, I'm dropping Fire Fist because I don't feel like they're going to be that great going forward, even though they did just win the ARG circuit in St. Louis. No. No, they didn't. They came top 2. I'm sorry. I'm having a brain fart. No, they got top 2, and they lost to Dragon Rulers, of course. And the Dragon Ruler player just stomped the Fire Fist player anyway. But anyway, in any way, shape, or form. Tanky going to 3. I don't think it ever really needed to go to 2 because they hit, no, as far as Fire Fists go, they hit Spirit down to 1, and that was all they needed to stop 3-Axis from dominating what would have been their format. Even with Dragons, I think that 3-Axis would have been just so plussy and nutty that it would have been, you know, a really good deck and really hard for Dragons to deal with, even with their ability to go off in just about every turn anyway. So that's the list. Now let me get on to this little dragon deck. So I've been seeing this dragon deck. Now they put the 4 rulers and like the Degrunities and Blue Eyes Maiden things together, and it's just this mishmash of dragon shit. And all it is just get your dragons to the graveyard, and they play like things like Dragon Shrines, Blue Stones. You know, they play like all 3 aspects of Dragon Rulers, Dragunities, and there's my phone. And there's my phone again. They play Dragon Rulers, they play Dragunities, and they play Blue Eyes. So they just, you know, they do that and it works, and it's slow enough to the point where other decks can interact with it now instead of just sitting there and losing like they tend to, and you don't have to rely on your side deck because the deck takes a couple turns to set up unless you draw really, really, really good, or, you know, it's just good. It's slow enough to the point where we can deal with it. And I think that is where this is heading. I think the best decks of this format are going to be Boojins and you know, some other stuff. I mean, everything is going to be good, but the fact that Bujins are getting nutty ass support in the next set or two is a really big indicator that they're gonna go and be one of the top contending decks. I also think that Gravekeepers are going to be the top anti-meta deck of ever because their support's going to be silly and ridiculous. Just Necro Valley stays on the field forever and you can't do anything about it. And shit, Water's going to be a really good deck. I know a bunch of people picked up Water because they knew that. I also can see Harpies, you know, that's why I'm picking those up, because they're fun. You know, Harpies are fun. But I also see them doing quite well because the rest of the decks out there are kind of back rowy decks, and I know Harpies are really good at melting through back row, especially with Hunting Ground, but I won't get to really figure that out until later on, but I still think that it's a really good deck to play. As for me, I'm bringing back my Scraps format. My main decks are going to be Harpies, Bujins, and Scraps. I've got really nothing else that I really feel like playing. None of the decks coming out really interest me. Just whatever is here. Just Bujins, Harpies, and Scraps. So, on that note, leave a comment, like, subscribe, whatever you guys want to do. And if you feel like there's anything that the Banlist really missed or did too much of, you know, drop a comment and talk about it. As I said in past videos, you know, I'd love it if you guys would just give me something to talk about, because I know I don't make videos all that often, sadly, because I only get deck profiles every so often. If I had other things to talk about and that other people don't talk about all constantly, like some people are like, oh, this is support, let's talk about it. I don't want to be the same broken record as everybody else, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if you guys got something for me to talk about, let me know, because I love to talk, because this video is like 12 minutes long. So, on that note, again, thanks for checking me out, guys, and we will catch you later.